Every month, the YouTube community craves a new target, a new sacrifice to make to the blood god. And it seems like this month, H3H3Productions is that target, but it's not his first time being in that position. In fact, a year ago, almost around the same exact time, everybody was flaming H3H3Productions for his comments on the whole PewDiePie N-word scandal. Ethan Klein criticized PewDiePie for saying the N-word and basically gave him a whole lecture on why that's a bad thing, basically saying what everyone else was saying. So why did people take offense to that? I mean, he's just preaching to the crowd, saying the popular opinion, the opinion that, you know, everyone agrees with. So why all of a sudden would they turn on H3 for saying the same thing everyone else is? Well, that's because H3H3Productions actually used the N-word very freely in episode 4 of the H3 podcast. You know, the same podcast that he criticized PewDiePie for saying the N-word on?
I love that I can just say nigger faggot, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like
little.
you're using it a little liberally.
I love saying nigger faggot. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna get shit for it.
Well, H3's such a hypocrite. You know, it's no wonder they all burned him to the ground. I mean, after all, you know, what a hypocritical thing to do, especially to your friend. Oh wait, context. H3 used the N-word in a satirical manner in episode 4, while PewDiePie used the N-word as a way to hurt someone in his PUBG stream. But forget context. We don't need context. You know, it's not like we were literally fighting for context when PewDiePie got called out earlier that year for his comments on Jews. No. When H3 is under fire, forget about context. We're just gonna burn him to the ground. And why? Because nobody likes H3H3Productions. And that's the title of this video. It's purposely mean to try to get you into here. So welcome to the show. Now, obviously, the statement that nobody likes H3H3Productions is an obvious over-exaggeration. People like him. There's a reason that 6 million people are subbed to him. But the reason why I make this bold claim is simply a statement to show that a lot of people do not like H3Productions. When they want to fight for morals for another YouTuber, they'll suspend those morals when it comes to H3H3Productions because we don't like Ethan. Why? I don't know. But for some reason, the community just hates H3H3Productions, and they will take any chance they can get to burn him to the ground. And what we saw last year is what we're seeing this year. However, things are a little bit different. Last year, people went and attacked H3H3 for no reason with vapid arguments that didn't stick. Oh, we're gonna fight for context for PewDiePie, but forget about context when it comes to Ethan, you know? Screw Ethan, you know? We don't care about context for Ethan, you know? We just want to burn him to the ground for the sake of burning him to the ground. However, the controversy that Ethan's found himself in this year is different. You see, whereas last year, anybody with a logical brain could defend Ethan, this year it's more split. Some people take the sides of the fans, some people take the side of Ethan, and some people take the middle road. Today, I'm going to explain why people aren't happy with H3H3Productions today, and explain whether or not the fans are in the right, or whether Ethan's in the right. I made a video a couple weeks ago that was more detailed about a specific situation, but let's just go over the quick bullet points. Ever since 2016, people have been complaining about Ethan's content. They've been seeing how it's not nearly as good as it used to be. In 2018, Ethan's content specifically sucked. Like, it was not his best work, to say the least. Then, over the period of a 3-month gap, he just flat out stopped making content. After doing a collab with iDubbbz that was a good video, but not because of Ethan's performance, it was more because of his wife and iDubbbz. 3 months of no content on his main channel, but he's very active on social media and his podcast. People don't like H3H3Productions podcast. While it gets a lot of views, the majority of Ethan fans are mostly there for Ethan and not for the podcast itself. People argue that the podcast is boring and that Ethan doesn't work in a podcasting environment. Finally, Ethan returns to the main channel with a 2-minute ad for a mobile game that nobody asked for, nobody's interested, and something that nobody really wanted. This leads to an outrage, causing unsubs and negative comments everywhere about Ethan. Ethan finally addresses the situation in an update video, explaining that the reason why he hasn't been making content again is simply because of his depression and the fact that he just can't get himself to make videos anymore. While a lot of people are fine with this response, a lot of people are still not happy with Ethan and his lack of content. So that's where we are today. We're at a situation where Ethan's found himself in a crossroads with his fans. This seems to happen to a lot of bigger YouTubers, where they make content consistently that's good, attract a large audience, and then eventually lose their connection to that content. They just lose that creative spark. And the fans aren't happy with this, so they voice their opinions. And then you start to see a conflict of the fans versus a creator, where you don't know if the fans are legitimate in their complaints or if the YouTuber is legitimate in his reasoning as to why he's not uploading content. But what's my opinion on this situation? Personally, I feel that there's a severe lack of communication with Ethan and his fans. Although he did post that update video explaining why there's less content, the problem with the video was that it was really unclear as to whether there was going to be more content on the way or if content was going to be sparse like it has been in 2018 so far. I mean, he did mention in one video he's going to make about vaping, but that's one video. What I personally took out of that H3 video was that he's simply sick and tired of making videos. He just doesn't have it in him anymore. He much prefers podcasting and giving his thoughts on serious issues rather than doing comedy. And when you don't have that passion to do comedy, your videos aren't going to be funny. And that's what I got out of the video. He didn't say that, but that's what I took from the video. He doesn't even look like he wants to be there. He looks like he wants to be in his podcast room, because I feel like podcasting for him is very therapeutic. He mentions stress and depression a lot. I feel like the podcast is his therapy. That's where he goes to relieve all his stress. He just sits there, he gets to talk about stuff. And regardless of whether you think it's a good podcast or not, I think the main reason why he's there is because it's all a therapy session for him. He needs the podcast. Video making, on the other hand, just ramps up his stress and his anxiety. People have been calling out the decline of quality in his videos for 2 years now. After 2 years of people saying that your videos are getting worse and worse, it must have gone to him. Me personally, I'm not really too affected by comments, but I don't have anxiety or depression, so I don't really understand that mindset. But for someone like H3 who does have that stuff, it makes sense as to why he's not uploading. And it makes sense why he's doing more podcasts and less comedy. But is that a bad thing? Well, I'm gonna say no. If his passion is in one area and not in the other, he should focus on that area and less on the other. But the part where H3 is falling is that there's so little communication. My opinion on this topic is based on something that I'm assuming is the case from his update video. He never outright said what my opinion is. I'm just basing that on what I think from watching his video. All he said in his video was that he's depressed and that's why he's not making videos anymore. Which is fine, but what does that mean? Does that mean less H3, no H3? Does that mean he's going to push past it and just go hard on the H3 comedy content? What does that mean? There's no communication, and that's why people are turning on him, because they don't know what to take of H3H3Productions, so they're confused and they're going after him. And you can argue whether that's right or wrong, but that's simply the fact of the matter is why people are turning against H3H3Productions. It's because there's no communication. They have so little to base their opinions off of that they just see H3 as betraying the fans, or maybe they see that he's hiding something. So in conclusion, H3H3Productions needs to focus on what he feels the most passionate about. And if that's podcasting, which is very apparent that it is, focus on podcasting. I'm not a fan of the podcast. I don't think H3 works in a podcast environment, but maybe if he focuses more on that, he can turn out a really good podcast. The part that H3 is falling at is that he's not offering enough communication. The update video was a good start, but for every question it answered, it just left us with another question. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is AugieRFC. If you enjoyed the video, you know what button to press. Subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. I'm going to be going live there later tonight. Shout out to my monthly supporters. If you want to be a monthly supporter, then you can subscribe to me on Twitch or become a member of my podcast, RFC Live, on YouTube. That's going to be it for tonight, boys, but I hope to see you tomorrow on RedFoxComms. Peace out, guys.